Good morning, everybody. We are back. John Delarose here, the leading Hispanic voice in science fiction. I can't find my tripod today. I don't know what I did with it. So I'm going to have to go back to scrubby, holding the phone type of thing. So hopefully it's not shaking too much. Anyway, I watched The Mandalorian over the weekend. I really need to get these reviews up like minute one because that's when people want to go see the reviews. But this is the best I can do because that's when I get the time to watch things for now. And this one was interesting. It was a trip to Tatooine, which was clearly Tatooine, and it also marked that the creatures from the first couple of episodes that they rode into the desert was also Tatooine. So we visited Tatooine at least twice now in the series. There's some reference to the Hutts here. There is some reference to actually episode 1, where we had Watto's little shop with the little weird droids in there, and these little weird droids reappeared in here for a little bit of member berries. And the Mandalorian shows up. He's it opens up in a fight, which I always like. I try to open up a lot of my stories in a fight because it just sets the tone for a lot of fun, a lot of action, and this one did similarly. And he then has to go for repairs at this little shop on Tatooine, where he meets this engineer lady who is really all about money. All she cares about is money. And she is trying to just get money out of him. And he goes and takes a job to capture a dangerous wanted bounty hunter who worked for the Hutts for a while or whatnot, and bring her in. He helps a younger mercenary to do so, who alleges that he wants to get into the Bounty Hunters Guild, and they actually meet at the Star Wars Cantina for a little bit more member berries. Yeah, this is interesting because this is the first episode that really has gone hard into the little member berries here, where the other ones have kind of drifted away from the Star Wars universe for the most part, and they'll give you little hints here and there, and of course Baby Yoda is a callback to Yoda in a lot of ways. But for the most part, they've drifted into, hey, we're going to have a sci-fi action series that's a little bit disconnected from Star Wars. Because you don't get a ton of references to the shows, and this episode actually changed that as it was pretty reference heavy. And they go after this lady in the desert. It's fairly simple, straightforward episode, just like the other ones have been so far. And go to take her down, and the Mandalorian shows the guy, his experience and how much better he is than him. And then, of course, they had a little bit of a twist at the end that the lady told the younger guy that the Mandalorian was actually wanted, and so he's worth more than her. And you expect them to team up and work together, and he actually shoots the lady and kills her, and then tries to take down the Mandalorian himself. Naturally does not succeed in doing so, and the Mandalorian, comes back, saves the day. There's a little side plot about Baby Yoda, of course, in there, and the engineer lady takes Baby Yoda under her wing. She's very upset that the Mandalorian left him on the ship all alone, but she's going to charge him extra for daycare, she says. So humorous moments, good action, all the way around. I actually thought this was probably the best episode of the series so far. I enjoyed the bounty hunting. I thought that was a lot of fun. I like watching the bounty hunting. I enjoyed it in the first episode, too, when he actually went out on a bounty, and then they had their little Western-style shootout. This one, of course, also in the desert, has a Western feel to it. They're getting sniped at from a rocky ledge, just like a lot of Westerns used to have back in the day. And they then have that whole betrayal, gunslinger. They even titled the episode "Gunslinger," so huge Western callback on that, and also not a lot of character development. Again, we learn a little bit about Mandalorian armor and background and things like that, but. For the most part, these feel like little vignettes, little Western vignettes, easy come, easy go, like old pulp serial adventures, and I've been enjoying it a lot. So this episode, like I said, I thought it's probably my favorite so far. I really want to watch it again. I had fun with it, and I want action pieces like this, and I want this sort of thing to continue. So I am quite optimistic in the series at this point. We're 5 episodes in. I believe there's 8 that have been slated for the first quote season. Maybe there was 10. I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was 8. So we're over halfway there, And for the most part, it's just been a very, very entertaining watch. I can't say there's a ton of depth to it. Obviously, they're probably going to get a little bit more into the Baby Yoda and his Force powers and things like that at some point as we come to a close here. I presume they're going to bring back the gal from the last episode before this one, the Imperial Shock Trooper. But beyond that, I think, we just have a standard Western, which, the gunslinger rolls into town. He does his thing. He rolls back out of town again. It feels good. I could use a lot more of this in culture. So that's it. I don't have a ton to say about it. It was straightforward. It was fun. It was action-packed. There were good humor moments. I really enjoyed, actually, the callback to Episode 1. I think so much of the new Star Wars universe tries to erase the prequels and pretend they don't exist because there was such a backlash about those for a long time. It's become like the hipster thing to want to hate on those prequels as much as possible. And you know what? I actually watched Episode 1 last night because it made me interested in that, as I recalled that. And, I got to say it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Maybe I'll make another video on that because Episode 1's actually got a lot of really interesting storytelling elements to it, which I could dial in and let you guys know about from a writer's perspective. Okay, so that's it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit the like and subscribe button, and lots of Star Wars content here, comic book content, and whatever I feel like talking about that day. And subscribe to my Patreon because it helps me do these videos and spend the time doing this. It helps me pay for my streaming service, which I've got, which helps me broadcast everywhere. And then I give a lot of cool content too. As I finish novels and short stories and comics, everybody on my Patreon gets those prior to their actual general release. So it's a good deal there. All right. I will talk to you guys soon.